Leo walked aimlessly through the park, his thoughts consumed by the chaos of his life. His parents barely noticed him, their attention perpetually absorbed by work or his more successful siblings. His brothers, older and more confident, delighted in tormenting him. Today had been especially bad, an endless stream of insults and shoves that left him feeling small and powerless. As the evening sun dipped below the horizon, Leo's steps carried him to the riverbank. Distracted by his own thoughts, he tripped over an exposed root and tumbled into the shallow water. Cold and annoyed, he started to stand, but his hand brushed against something hard. Pulling it from the water, he found a peculiar stone. It shimmered faintly, its surface etched with strange, swirling patterns. It looked valuable, like it belonged in a museum. When Leo got home, the usual chaos awaited him. His brothers teased him relentlessly, and his parents barely glanced up to acknowledge his presence. Frustrated, he retreated to his room, clutching the stone. It seemed to hum faintly in his palm, almost alive. "I wish I had a better life," he whispered into the quiet, as tears pricked his eyes. The next morning started as any other. His oldest brother, Michael, barged into Leo's room, snatching the stone off his desk. "What's this? Another one of your stupid nerd treasures?" Michael sneered, holding the stone up mockingly. Before Leo could snatch it back, the stone glowed brightly in Michael's hand. His face twisted in confusion, and in the blink of an eye, he was gone, replaced by a stunning young woman. Her long hair cascaded in soft waves over her shoulders, and her slender figure was clad in a vibrant rainbow bikini. Her eyes widened as she looked down at herself. I didn't mean to do that," she stammered, her voice soft and melodic. Without thinking, she leaned forward and kissed Leo on the cheek. "I'm sorry, Leo." Leo stumbled back, staring at her in disbelief. "Michael? What just happened?" Before he could process it, his second brother, Brandon, burst into the room. "What's all the noise in here?" he began, but then his eyes locked on the glowing stone, still clutched in the transformed Michael's hand. The light engulfed Brandon before he could finish his sentence. When it faded, a tall, athletic woman stood in his place, wearing the uniform of a lifeguard. Her expression softened as she looked at Leo. "Wow, Leo," she said, brushing her newly blonde hair from her face. "I guess I'll see you after work, okay?" She turned and left the room with a casual wave. Leo's heart raced as he hurried downstairs, clutching the stone. His father was sitting at the table, reading the newspaper. "Dad!" Leo shouted. "Something weird is happening." His dad looked up just as the stone flared again. A moment later, a strikingly beautiful woman with long, dark hair and a red bikini sat in his father's place. She smiled warmly at Leo. "Are you hungry, sweetie?" she asked, her voice filled with motherly concern. "You've got to eat something." Leo's legs felt weak, but before he could respond, his mother appeared in the doorway, clutching a basket of laundry. The stone's glow enveloped her as well. In her place stood a supermodel, her radiant beauty overwhelming the room. She looked at Leo with a soft smile, as if nothing had changed. "Leo, could you help with the laundry later?" she asked, setting the basket down. Before Leo could answer, his youngest brother, Alex, walked in. The moment Alex's eyes landed on Leo, they filled with warmth. The stone pulsed one last time, and Alex was gone, replaced by a gorgeous girl with sparkling eyes and a shy smile. "Leo, I've missed you," she said softly, stepping closer. She reached out and gently took his hand. I love you." Leo's mind reeled as he stared at the stone, now dim and lifeless. Words appeared briefly on its surface before it crumbled to dust in his hands. Permanent. They were always meant to be. As the dust settled, Leo realized he was the only one who remembered the truth. To everyone else, this was how it had always been. His oldest sibling, now Rebecca, left for her lifeguard job with a cheerful wave. His parents doted on him as though they'd always been his adoring mother and caring older sister. And his youngest sibling, now his girlfriend, leaned on his shoulder as they watched the sunset together. For the first time, Leo felt truly loved. Days turned into weeks, and Leo's new life began to settle into a rhythm. While his memories of the past remained intact, the rest of his family seemed blissfully unaware of the transformation they had undergone. Each of them embraced their new roles with a natural ease that left Leo both amazed and confused. Rebecca, once the cruel and domineering Michael, had taken to her new life as a lifeguard with surprising enthusiasm. Her once brash and arrogant demeanor had softened into a cheerful, supportive personality. She often spent her evenings chatting with Leo about her day at the beach, laughing and offering advice in a way that felt almost sisterly. Brandon, now the athletic and confident lifeguard, seemed to thrive in her new body and life. She was always encouraging Leo to join her for swims at the local pool or jogs through the park. "Come on, Leo," she would say with a teasing grin. "You've got to stay in shape if you're going to keep up with me." His parents, now both stunning women, had become more attentive and loving than Leo ever remembered. His mom, now the supermodel-like figure who still managed the household with grace, spent her days baking and gardening. "Leo, you're my pride and joy," she often said, ruffling his hair affectionately. His dad, now a warm and nurturing woman in a red bikini, took a more relaxed approach to parenting. She loved lounging in the backyard, soaking up the sun, and inviting Leo to sit and talk. "You're such a wonderful son," she often said, her smile radiant. But the most surprising transformation was Alex, now Leah, who had fully embraced her role as Leo's girlfriend. She was affectionate and caring, always seeking to make Leo feel special. She would surprise him with little gestures, like packing him lunches with notes that read, "Love you, Leo." Or planning quiet movie nights just for the two of them. One evening, as they sat together in the backyard under the stars, Leah leaned her head on Leo's shoulder. "Do you ever feel like life is just perfect now?" she asked softly. Leo hesitated, unsure of how to respond. He wanted to share his memories of how things had once been, but the fear of disrupting this newfound harmony held him back. "It's definitely better," he said finally. Leah smiled and kissed his cheek. "I'm glad. You deserve this, Leo. You've always deserved to be happy." Yet, despite the joy of his new life, Leo couldn't shake the feeling that the stone's power had been too perfect, too convenient. He began to wonder if there were others who might know of its existence, or its consequences. One day, as he cleaned his room, he found a faint shimmering residue where the stone had crumbled. His curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to investigate. After some research at the local library, Leo stumbled upon a dusty book titled The Relics of Change. The book described ancient artifacts capable of altering reality itself, each one imbued with a specific purpose. The stone Leo had found, according to the book, was known as the Stone of Renewal. Its purpose was to grant a fresh start to those who wished for it, but it came with a cost. The changes it wrought were irreversible, and its power was limited to those directly affected by the wish. As Leo read further, he discovered something that made his heart race. The final note in the book read, "The relics are drawn to those who seek them. If one appears, others may follow." Leo closed the book and stared out the window. His life had changed in ways he could never have imagined, but now he realized it might only be the beginning of something far larger and far stranger than he had anticipated. The question that haunted him was whether he could ever truly trust the happiness he had been given, or if it was merely the beginning of a reality he had yet to understand. As Leah called him from downstairs for dinner, he smiled despite the uncertainty. For now, he decided, he would cherish the happiness he had fought so hard to find. As Leo continued adjusting to his new reality, the lingering questions about the stone's power and its potential consequences gnawed at him. His family and Leah seemed perfectly content, their lives now revolving around their transformed roles. Yet, the words from the book haunted him, "If one appears, others may follow." It was a quiet afternoon when the first sign of something unusual happened. Leo was walking through the park, the same one where he had found the stone, when a faint shimmer caught his eye near the riverbank. Kneeling down, he saw another object half buried in the mud. This time, it wasn't a stone but a small, ornate pendant shaped like a crescent moon, its surface etched with glowing runes. Cautiously, Leo picked it up. The moment his fingers touched the pendant, a soft voice echoed in his mind. Seeker of change, you have found me. What do you desire? Leo froze, his heart pounding. The pendant pulsed in his hand, warm and alive. He wasn't sure what to say. Was this another artifact like the stone? What would happen if he made another wish? Before he could decide, the pendant's glow faded, and the voice went silent. Leo slipped it into his pocket, unsure of what to do next. When he got home, everything seemed normal, or as normal as life could be with his entire family transformed into women. Rebecca was lounging on the couch, scrolling through her phone. Brandon was in the kitchen, preparing dinner with surprising skill. His mom was trimming flowers in the garden, while his dad sunbathed in the backyard. Leah greeted him with a warm hug as he walked in. "Where have you been?" she asked, smiling. "I was starting to miss you." Leo hesitated, debating whether to tell her about the pendant. "Just went for a walk," he said finally. Later that night, as everyone slept, Leo sat alone in his room, holding the pendant. He whispered to it, testing its power. "Can you hear me?" The voice returned, soft but clear. "I am here, Seeker. What do you desire?" "I don't know," Leo admitted. "I don't even know if I should want anything else. My life is already so different, but I don't understand why this is happening to me." The pendant pulsed gently, as if in thought. "Your wish for change has opened the path. The relics come to those who seek transformation. Do you wish to continue?" Leo swallowed hard. Did he want to continue? He thought about his family, how happy they seemed now. Would more changes disrupt this fragile harmony, or would it bring even greater happiness? Before he could decide, the pendant glowed brightly, and the room shifted around him. When the light faded, Leo found himself in a version of his house that was both familiar and unfamiliar. The furniture was the same, but the decor was brighter, more modern. He heard laughter coming from downstairs, and cautiously made his way to investigate. In the living room, his family was gathered, but they looked different. Rebecca, still in her rainbow bikini, was now surrounded by a group of women who looked like her friends. Brandon, in her lifeguard uniform, was playfully teasing someone on the phone. His mom and dad, still beautiful women, were hosting what appeared to be a book club. And then there was Leah, sitting on the couch with a young woman who looked strikingly like Leo himself, except she was feminine, poised, and stunning. "Leo." Leah called out, waving him over. "Come meet your sister." "Sister?" Leo stammered, his heart racing. The young woman smiled warmly. "Hi, I'm Lily," she said, her voice soft and kind. Leo's mind reeled. The pendant had done something, had transformed him further by creating a version of himself in this new reality. As the evening wore on, Leo noticed something strange. While everyone seemed happy, he couldn't shake the feeling that the pendant had more plans for him. He could feel its weight in his pocket, pulsing faintly, as if waiting for his next move. That night, as the house grew quiet, Leo sat in his room once more, staring at the pendant. "What do you want from me?" he asked aloud. The voice returned, calm and deliberate. "You are the seeker. Only you can choose the path. Do you wish to leave this reality, or will you embrace it?" Leo hesitated, looking out the window at the stars. This new life had brought him happiness, but it had also come at the cost of everything he once knew. Could he accept it, or should he seek to undo it all? Taking a deep breath, he clutched the pendant tightly. "I just want to be happy. For everyone to be happy." The pendant glowed one final time, brighter than before, and the voice whispered, "Then so it shall be." When the light faded, Leo found himself back in his transformed home. This time, however, a sense of peace washed over him. The pendant crumbled to dust in his hand, its purpose fulfilled. As Leah entered the room and hugged him tightly, Leo smiled. For the first time, he felt certain that this was where he belonged, and that this was the life he was meant to live.